Ballroom has to get a lot of things right in order for people to get interested in watching. Part of the reason for that is its premise. Since dancing isn't exactly the coolest thing someone can be good at, other sports like football, basketball, and soccer all take away the attention from smaller competitive hobbies like this, snatching away from the possibility of the casual viewer already being interested in it before watching. Nevertheless, Ballroom still charges forward in the hopes that people will be able to find something of value in a story and entity as a whole. But what exactly does it do to make you care? For starters, in episode 1, Ballroom first focuses on other focal points of its narrative, one of them being the protagonist Fujita. The author, Takeuchi Tomo, knows that if he's able to convince us that Fujita is worth rooting for, learning to like the other aspects of a story should come along as we follow Fujita's lead. To do this, the first thing Takeuchi shows us about Fujita is that he's having trouble figuring out what to do in his life, letting us, the viewer, know how lost Fujita is as a character, serving the purpose of making people who have also struggled with determining their future feel a sense of camaraderie with him. Which, by the way, is literally everyone. Meaning that we're about 35 seconds into Ballroom's first episode and there's already a character people can connect with and relate to, while in that same scene establishing a goal of Fujita's for the viewer to hope for him to accomplish. This goal being Fujita's desire to find something he loves, in the hopes that it makes him change. Now, while it is pretty easy to determine what exact change Fujita wants to make in himself through the way he reacts to certain situations and his body language, but to be more concise, I'll still reference the first chapter of the manga since it outright states it, unlike the anime. In the manga's introduction, we learn by Fujita's narration that he wants to find something that gives him confidence. But I guess if I just say he only wants confidence, that makes it sound like a simpler problem when it's really so much more. The fact that he lacks that trait translates into other problems such as Fujita's shyness, his easily intimidated self, his self-loathing, and lack of strength. Knowing that Fujita has never been good at something or particularly liked and invested in anything, finding something he could say he enjoyed and received acknowledgement for is paramount for Fujita to experience in order to make these changes in himself. So when he does actually find that one special place for him in dance, it makes it all the more exciting and inspirational for the viewer, making it so you want to see Fujita improve more at dancing so he can reach his goal, erasing the original impression you had of ballroom dancing bit by bit until it's completely gone because it's what Fujita chose. One thing I'd like to clarify is that I'm not saying that this alone will make you flip your original perspective on dance, which is most likely that you thought it was boring compared to other sports, but that Ballroom is making you support Fujita, which in turn makes you want to see him prosper, which in turn makes you forget that you originally thought dancing was boring or uncool. I'm not really sure if I'm making sense right now, so let's look at a good example at the end of episode 1, when Fujita was trying to learn how to do the box, one of the basic figures in the waltz. First we see Sengoku test Fujita's determination by giving him a less fun step to learn before teaching him anything else. Second, we see Fujita struggle until he somewhat begins to understand the movements Sengoku showed him, bathed in shadow as he makes his first stride to understanding it more. We cut into the next day where we're shown Shizuku, one of Fujita's schoolmates and ballroom dancer, walk into the studio, seeing Fujita this time bathed in light as he steps into the rise. Once again showing us from the beginning through Shizuku's narration that Fujita is doing the box correctly, making the viewer get excited not particularly because of the dance itself, but because Fujita is doing something right within it and being acknowledged for it. Okay, now since the makers of Ballroom have captured the attention of the watchers with the main character that people can relate and root for, the next part about this series that they try to make you care about is the dancing itself. Regarding back to what I said about the negative opinion people had being forgotten for the moment, being able to find some worth within dancing itself is still important when it comes to making your decision to stay invested. With that said, the first thing that we're led to feel about dancing is respect for those who take it seriously. Just like any other sport, dancing takes just as much time and dedication to be able to do on a professional level. Subtle moments like when we saw how badly Fujita's feet had gotten after dancing for a whole night were smaller ways of telling the viewer, hey, dancing isn't the wimpy sport you thought it was, this shit messes you up and isn't as easy as you think. But the moment I truly found out what the message was trying to be conveyed was near the end of episode 2, when Fujita decided that he was going to tell Hyodo, Shizuku's dance partner, off for not paying more attention to her. Upon walking in to take care of business, the first thing Fujita sees is a sweat covered and watching Hyodo practicing with Shizuku's shadow. Just in case you don't know what that is, shadow dancing is when you dance solo while imagining it is with your partner. So for Hyodo, someone who was first perceived to 1. Not care about his dancing, and 2. Not care about his partner, being seen practicing this hard showed the viewer and Fujita just how wrong our impression was of him, while instilling in the watcher a sense of respect in not only Hyodo for working this hard, but for others who take dance seriously and pour their lives into it like other people do in different sports. Making it so we're able to respect dancing as a real sport opens up a spot to show the viewer what there is to like about dancing. With this opening present, we're shown 3 important dance scenes within the next 2 episodes after that in hopes to officially sell the viewers on the fact that they're going to be watching an anime about dancing. First, we see the interesting way dancers are able to portray different people with each new song they dance to. Using Hyodo and Shizuku, 2 characters we see the least emotion from, as ways to present how even people like that can show different sides of them on the dance floor. I especially enjoyed watching Hyodo make this face. but that's besides the point. On to the next important dance moment later in the episode when Fujita has to fill in for Hyodo when he disappeared. Since Hyodo was nowhere to be found, Sengoku came up with the bright idea of sending Fujita out there in place of Hyodo as Shizuku's partner. We aren't shown anything in regards to great dance because it was Fujita's first time ever doing so with people watching him, but we are shown some of his glaring potential to be good, opening the floodgates of the watchers' interest, making them want to see just how good he will be when he gets better. That's when this final dance scene at that in episode 4 is delivered. With Hyodo back and more furious than ever after seeing a beginner like Fujita completely take over his partner and use his choreography, he stepped onto the dance floor to defend his pride as a man despite being injured. Before I go any further, I want to remind you of the type of impression Hyodo must have had on you up until now. He hasn't shown any likable qualities despite his work ethic, and it just got done looking at our main character, the original reason why he wanted to give this show a try, with a fiery anger in his eyes, which most likely didn't help your original thoughts on him. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there is no reason to care about or root for him as he walks onto the dance floor. But going back to that scene now, my god, the way they captivate you with Hyodo's dance despite you not being fond of him and dancing as a whole serves to be commended. The way he seemingly transforms on the dance floor with passion leaking out of every step and move he makes gave me chills. I suddenly found myself with Hyodo's name in my head just as the crowd had during that scene, eagerly waiting as he entrances me even further with each fiery step, ending in satisfaction as the music stops and Hyodo finishes what he started as he falls to the floor after pushing himself so far. And that's it right there. All that's been done by Ballroom characters and dance moments up until now have been serving the purpose of making you want to continue watching their anime. From the motivational parts with Fujita, to the way this anime makes you respect and enjoy dancing as a whole. You might not like it to the point where you want to try it like the way Haikyuu made you get interested in a sport like volleyball, but through making you invested in its characters and showing such an entrancing dance through Hyodo, you surely must be excited for what's to come in the following episodes. Unless you just really don't like dancing for some reason, which wouldn't make sense if you watched this far in the video. Anyhow, I just wanted to make this video to shed some light on the smart thing Ballroom does to get you interested in watching. And as my favorite anime of the season, I can wholeheartedly say that I want you to check this one out. Not only because I love it, but because not giving it a chance because you think dancing sucks isn't fair to the author and the people at Production IG working their hardest to give you a piece of entertainment that is actually good. Unlike some of the anime airing this season that people like for some reason. In another word with my smartphone.